All right. Welcome to this session of Groundbreakers Live. I'm your host, Javed Mohammed, here at Oracle Code Shenzhen. And I'm very honored to have with us today Sharat Chander. Sharat, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
And Sharat is the Senior Director for Java Product Management, as well as for Developer Affairs at Oracle.
That's right.
Cool. So you got a great session, Java, SE, now and the future.
That's right.
But you know what? As much as I want to get there,
Yes.
I thought, could we do like a past, present, and future?
We can do past, present, and future.
Because I just think it's got such a rich history, and for many of us, including myself and probably folks out there, they may not know some of that history. So can we do you were talking about Casablanca off camera, can we go rewind back in time?
You go back in time, back to the future almost?
Oh, back to the future.
Back to the back and then go to the future.
Exactly,
Okay.
and then we can kind of make it to the so give us a little, how did it all start?
So it's kind of amazing to even think about it, but next year will be 25 years of Java in the world we live in. It's had 25 years of vibrant utility and ubiquity and usage out in many enterprises, and we're hoping that it has life for the next 25, if not longer, years.
Which is an incredible accomplishment, because being in the tech world where things come and go, and most things don't have a very long half-life, 25 years is incredible.
It is a testament to the technology. It's definitely not a fad, and it's rooted primarily in two things. One, of course, is continued stewardship. So, of course, the roots of Java start at Sun. Sun invested highly in making sure that Java had functionality and ubiquity in enterprises across the world, regardless of what type of application they were building. And with that technology investment, what gives vibrancy in anything in life is the ecosystem. And really the pillar of strength of Java isn't just the innovation that you bring forward in the language, in the platform, and in the code, but in the ecosystem.
Okay. So hold that thought.
Sure.
It's a very important one. What was the problem Java was solving that at the time?
Simplifying programming for a variety of applications, making it easier and simpler to actually create enterprise-grade, security-grade applications. And it started off on set-top boxes, in small, inherent, discrete devices, but it has
like embedded type of applications.
That's basically where some of the roots, the tendrils of Java started. But that fundamental foundation provided utility to a variety of applications, whether it's in aerospace, in finance, in e-commerce. Java has its place and roots in that as well, because it brought a standard way of developing by utilizing the virtual machine to basically live on that promise of run once, write once, run anywhere. And it continues to foster that ethos that it's had for 25 years.
Wow. Okay. So you talked about the role of community. Let's talk about that.
Sure.
First of all, what does community mean to you? I guess because that's we all kind of it's one of those touchy-feely kind of thing. We have a kind of a sense of it.
It absolutely
but give
is.
it to me from a Java perspective, or even from a developer perspective.
I reflect a little bit because both of my parents are scientists in their own right, and they always taught me about ecosystems. Ecosystems survive because every part of that environment contributes something of value that then makes the ecosystem balanced and have longevity, and then can evolve. And it's no different in technology. The larger you grow the pool of individuals that have the opportunity to influence the direction, the better decisions you can make as far as where you want to take the language. And Java, in its roots, lives behind the community that's behind it. So when you make the users part of that equation, they have more passion, they have more commitment, they have more loyalty to the technology, because they feel as though they have a hand in and a say in the direction that it goes. And so, going back 25 years, starting with a few hundred developers, the ecosystem now is in the millions. Some analysts say 12 million, some say 9 million, some say even larger. But when you're talking about millions of passionate end users, that feel as though they have a say in where it goes just continues that evolution and commitment that Java will remain vibrant.
Okay. So, and I'm sorry, my questions are kind of going back and forth between. So we talked a little bit about the past. So where are we at? So you said next year is 25, but in terms of Java SE, where are things at?
So some of the things that we've done is the promise that we've always wanted to put forth to developers is that Java remains free and open. And we want to make it even more free and more open. And little over 2 years ago, we doubled down on that promise and commitment. And just last year, with the introduction of Java 11, which shipped in September of 2018, we released Java SE underneath a more free, more open source license. So the GPL with ClassPass exception allows developers to actually take Java and utilize it in any environment that they see fit. That's number one. Number two, we also wanted to increase the innovation pace. So in the previous years, you would have to wait multiple years to actually access innovation that had been in the works. And that actually inhibits you being able, as an end user, being able to pick up things and implement them in your business to drive innovation. And so we went from a multi-year release model to now a 6-month feature release model, which means not only are we making incremental improvements, we're delivering those improvements to developers at a much faster pace, because guess what? The environment we're around is demanding it. You think about things like the cloud, the environment of the cloud that we live in today. The pace of change that's happening in the cloud environment is changing in not years, but in months. And so we want to make sure Java is equipped to handle that pace and rate of change that the new world that we live in operates under.
And it seems like a direct tie-in with DevOps, with the world of DevOps, and just
there's some of that principle there, but more than anything, innovation happens at the pace it needs to, and the environment we live in right now is demanding more access to features, to functionality at a more rapid pace. And so we want to make sure that the 25 years of investment we've made in Java has a life and longevity well after that. And the only way that can happen is if we address the environment in front of us, which is faster and more open.
Okay, and probably more secure too.
Security is non-negotiable. Like those are tenets that that remain true to Java this day. Security is always going to be non-negotiable. The features and functions that we introduce into the code base, we want to make sure that they are thoroughly tested. So there is minimal friction when developers pick it up to utilize it.
Okay. So put on your crystal ball. What's the roadmap? What is the future? What does the future look like for Java?
So you're talking, I need to have my third eye now, right? So a little Game of Thrones metaphor there, right?
And I know it's always hard to predict the future, but still, just share
so
with your
if we want to talk about incrementally, some of the investments we're making is in the container space. So how do we utilize Java in multiple instances of containers that are being spun up? So we have a project called Project Portola, which is addressing and optimizing Java in containers. We're also looking at the machine learning space. And of course, we're also looking at Java in terms of optimizing data. So it's not just about optimizing code, but optimizing data, because we live in a data-rich environment. Right now, the world we look at, everything is running off of data. So how can Java, the investments we're making, address the things about accelerating the management and the sort of orchestration of data that's coming in as well as coming out of an application?
Okay. Fascinating.
But if you want to talk about even further long-term, that really relies on, I'll say the ecosystem, but really it relies on the community.
Coming back to the community.
You mentioned community, and I love how you've brought that thread into the conversation, because the direction we take Java is inherent on what we hear from the community. They have a stakeholder position in this just as much as Oracle. So as far as where it will go in the future, we want to hear about that. We want developers to be engaged. So the more they let us know, the more they participate in projects such as OpenJDK, because OpenJDK is not just a thing, it's a place. The more they participate in that as a thing and as a place, the better decisions we as the stewards of the technology, we can better then make those choices of what investments we're making for the next 25 plus years.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. So we're here at Code Shenzhen, and what little history I'm learning about Shenzhen is it's kind of the Silicon Valley of China.
Sure.
A lot of entrepreneurs,
It has
developers.
changed significantly in a blink of an eye. So the multiple years that I've coming through here, the past 5 years, the rate and pace of change is kind of reflective of the cloud environment we live in, as well as the environment we're facing with Java. And it's encouraging when you see such a large, vibrant community of end users that are using Java. It just lets us know as the stewards that if we see these communities continuing to grow, then we must be doing something right.
Yeah. I see in all your expression, you live and breathe Java. Where does that passion come from, and how do you sustain it?
It's so I've been working in this space for as pretty much as long as Java. So I cut my teeth in the telco space over 20 years ago, and Java was one of the perfect languages at the time and platforms at the time to actually ramp up in that mobile space. And it was just a spark of passion where when you see something that is going to be so meaningful, and not just disruptive, but enlightening in terms of its functionality, it became it became just a career path for me, and it continues to be. And it'll only remain a career path as long as there's more people participating in this, because it helps me keep that passion going. When I see others expressing their love and passion for the technology, it can only enrich me and make me even more passionate in a technology that has been with me for most of my professional career.
Excellent. So I know you have a session later.
I do.
It's later on, and we encourage all the folks to actually go and check it out.
Thank you.
For those who are not present, what's like one takeaway you want them to go away with?
One takeaway, I'm going to actually split it into two parts. So 1A is that Java remains open and free. Sometimes there's a lot of miscommunication, I think sometimes in the industry, as far as what is Oracle's commitment around Java. And number one is that we want to keep it open and we want to keep it free.
And we want the whole world to be like that.
We want the world to be... Boy, you speak the truth there. Definitely speak the truth. And two, innovation happens with participation.
Okay.
That is fundamentally the only thing that's going to keep Java vibrant, is the participation in the technology from the community. So open, free, and community.
Sharat, you concluded it so well. Thank you so much for coming and for sharing.
Java is always a pleasure. Good to see you.
And I want to encourage all the folks actually out there, to at least the folks who are here at Oracle Code Shenzhen, to check out Sharat's presentation. And please stay tuned for more Groundbreaker Live sessions with either Jim or myself here. And very excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.